welcome to my YouTube channel. This is a new YouTube channel, though it's not my first YouTube channel. The goal of this channel is to essentially do everything that the news is not, and telling you where biases are, giving you my personal opinion, things to that extent. I'm basically going to, for the most part, go over things that have been written. So I'm going to read articles and then give you my personal thoughts on those articles, skim over some of the parts that aren't actually important because there's a lot of filler in articles, some things to that extent. So if you enjoy this content, the quality will hopefully improve over time. But like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, do everything you can to support my channel, and I really appreciate it. Give me any comments of like possible improvements, anything you would like me to specifically cover, any links, things like that you would want me to cover. Put them in the comments, or I also have an email at lynaxis unfiltered@gmail.com. Thank you. So this is my first run through. It's gonna be in a streaming format, so I'm not gonna edit it very much, if at all. So just bear with me while I get a good vibe on, while I figure everything out, and just I guess enjoy. So 57 days after a gunshot to the head, 12-year-old school massacre survivor has returned home. This is from CNN, Crime and Justice section, 2-minute read. And for all of the things that I read, I'm going to have something, all of the things I read, all of the things I'm like, oh, this is happening. I'm gonna, why is it like, it gets darker here? Do you see that? I fucking can't. Okay. Anyway, so I'm gonna post all of the links in my description of whatever video, so that it's easier for you guys. If you do want to look into what I'm reading, you can actually do that. I'm not gonna go past any paywalls. I ain't paying for news. I feel like it should be free. So anyway, a 12-year-old girl, bitch. This is gonna be, this is gonna be terrible. Okay, so a 12-year-old girl who doctors said was on the brink of death after being shot in the head this summer while praying with classmates of... What? What is that word? How do I... Hold on. I gotta look this up. Oh. I know that word. What am I doing? Oh my god. I need to fucking read. Okay. With classmates of Annunciation Catholic School, was greeted by dozens. Okay, so this is about essentially, it was on TikTok, but I don't know where else. I'm sure everywhere else as well. But basically, so there was a trans shooter at a Catholic school, and said trans shooter, I'm assuming, was being bullied. I didn't get too far into it, so I'm pretty new to this topic in general. But I guess we'll find out. So, blah, blah, blah. Catholic school was greeted by dozens, bitch. We're going to be doing those all night. I'll be here all week. Okay. Was greeted by dozens of cheering residents Thursday as a white limousine led by a police motorcade carried her through Minneapolis. I feel like that's a little excessive. Like, don't get me wrong. I support the victims, and I don't mean like the trans shooter is the victim. Like, you shot somebody, you know? But overall, like, I feel like that's excessive. Anyway, so after 57 days in the hospital that included rehabilitation and the left half of her skull being removed to treat the swelling in her brain, Sophia Fortes was... So they're just doxing a 12-year-old. I'm going to put this here for, like, later when I come back. So they're just doxing a 12-year-old. They're telling the name. They don't do that in media. What is this? What's the difference between this and literally every other story? Why are they doxing a 12-year-old? That's ridiculous. Anyway, so Sofia Fortes was escorted. I can't fucking talk. Escorted through the streets of the city. A video posted by Major Jacob Frey on social media Thursday showed. Oh, I'm curious. What's this look like? Of course, it's on X, and it's gonna fucking try to dox me again. I fucking hate it here. Okay. Oh, it's... Okay, so it's literally just a video of them escorting her. Okay. That's like it's exactly what they said. Okay. So the August 27 shooting, she survived at the Church of Annunciation. I'm struggled with it again. During the first week of classes, left 2 children dead and 20 others injured. I didn't realize there was that many casualties. Like I said, I'm like fairly new to this topic. I have heard things on TikTok about it. I haven't really looked into it because like I'm busy. That's the whole reason I'm making this channel, is so that people... My phone's just chilling. So anyway, I'm making this channel so people who are working, who don't have the time of day to actually look into these stories, they could just listen to it. Hopefully it's eventually going to be in podcast form, but it just depends on how profitable it is, because at the end of the day, like, I need to make money with my time. The longer period of time that I'm doing this, the longer I'm not making, money. So it'll depend on that when I actually get on Spotify and all that, but that's a part of the goal. So anyway, students dove for cover under pews as the shooter opened fire through stained glass windows, and worshippers were blocking. Motherfucker, stop texting me. Nobody cares. Stop. Do not disturb. Thank you. Trying to make a video. Okay. Anyway, so I feel like this will be a fun video without me like really editing. That's Nero. Oh, that's Nero, by the way. I have 2 dogs. Since like this will hopefully bring in new viewers. So if you're not one of my previous viewers that is moving over here, that's my dog. Him's cute. Him's a pain in the ass though. Him likes to go outside a lot, which like I don't blame him. So anyway, blah 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 blah. The children who were killed were 8 and 10. That's fucking Jesus Christ. I knew they were young, but I didn't realize they were that young. How are you gonna kill an 8? Oh, it's a child. Okay. Anyway. Sophia's brother, who was with her that day, survived unharmed. Her mother, a pediatric care nurse. Jesus Christ. Okay. Was working her shift at Hennepin County Medical Center, where several of the wounded were taken before even knowing her children's school was involved. Oh my God. Imagine, like, let me take a pause again, sorry. Imagine you being a mother, getting these kids in. You're just at work. All these kids are coming in, hurt as fuck. You don't know what happened. You don't know where it happened. The amount of, like, anticipation panic that I would have in that case. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I'd be so anxious. And the fact that it was, in fact, her children's school, like, she probably thought, like, with private schools, which I'm assuming this is a private school, obviously. I don't know, like, hold on. Where is it? And let's see, there it is. Okay, so I'm assuming that this is a private school. Most Catholic schools are. Most religious schools in general are like, you have to pay extra to, like, you know, be anywhere close to there. Knowledge, faith, could shut up. Admissions. Open. Yeah, so this is a private school. So that poor mother probably thought that her school was safe. It was never going to be her kids. And I feel like that's what a lot of people think when it comes to like situations like this. You never think it's going to, like, bad things in general, you never think it's going to happen until it happens to you. Or like maybe you're paranoid or, super anxious, and maybe you think it's always going to happen to you and then it never does. But like, generally speaking, you never really think it's going to happen to you until it happens to you. And that's so shitty. Like, I can't imagine what she was going through at that time. But so anyway, after surviving the massacre and making a recovery that surprised even her doctors, Sophia returned home in time to celebrate her upcoming 13th birthday, a family spokesperson told CNN. Okay, so just like as a little aside, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not whatever, but from my personal, I am a biologist though. From my personal experience, in the sense of like what I've seen and what I've researched, children in general are like very quick to bounce back. Like, there have been children who have been in comas that generally, like, an adult would not be able to survive. A child can survive that and come out of it with a fair amount of disabilities, in most cases, sure, but they survive it, whereas an adult wouldn't. Their ability to survive things is, in my opinion, a lot higher than an adult. So it's not that surprising to me that she suffered a traumatic brain injury, such as being shot. Obviously, it's not a concussion, but she probably got a little bit of concussion in there. Anyway, so welcome home, Sophia. So basically, they're just inviting her home. I like how my headphones just turn off for no fucking reason. That's great. I love Razor. That's an aside. If you weren't, this is a sidetrack again. If you weren't available, or if you weren't aware, Razor kind of posted an ad that is like controversial as fuck, honestly. Basically, it had some guy and some girl who are clearly like dating, or like maybe he's the brother, whatever. But basically, she's yapping. It seems like she's upset about something, and essentially he comes in and puts his headphones on, and then you can like hear her, but like really muffled, which, like, first of all, that's not even a good headphone if you're going for noise canceling. You're not supposed to hear anything, in my opinion. But unfortunately, they decided to make that, and a lot of women took offense to it, which like really sucks. I feel like it's gonna hit Razor pretty hard. I feel like it's gonna hit Razor pretty hard because a lot of women who, like, I mean, they have like the pink headphones, they have the cat ears. Like, I can't think of many people who would actually, like, many men who would actually buy those headphones. So they've basically cut out a lot of their profits in doing so. But anyway, so the mayor spent time with Sophia and her loved ones. So I feel like the mayor, that's solid. With a tragedy like that, you want local support from like the local government. So A+ for the mayor on doing that. In my opinion. I mean, I'm gonna do my best to like try to separate my opinions from like actual facts, because there is a difference. Regardless of who wants to think that there's not a difference, there is a difference between your opinion and facts, like actual, like, provable facts. But anyway, so they're thrilled to see her home, and then it basically just goes on, miracle. Everybody's, you think she's doing great. And that's about it. So that's great. That's great that she is actually able to heal from it. I don't think there's any like significant amount of propaganda in this one specifically. I don't think there's any like nothing like comes out to me and like so nothing is worded in a way that would make you think a specific way. Not that I see, at least. Um, Being that they're Catholic, CNN has a tendency to not want to celebrate or support Catholics. That's just like the name of the game. They don't tend to support Catholics. So I would see them in the most like drastic way. I would see them possibly saying some shit about like she deserved it or like not covering this story at all because she recovered, something like that. So it's great to see CNN like I might have been a little dramatic when like judging CNN. So that's great that they were actually covering this, and that it's an actual positive story. So we're gonna go back to. I fucking hate Google. I hate it so much. They fucking every 2 seconds they're like, "Do you want to be doxxed?" I'm just gonna fucking move this over. Shit brain. Okay. So, 18 minutes on one fucking topic. Yeah, I'm gonna have to edit. No one's gonna watch this shit. Anyway, so, next one from crypto billionaires to cabinet members. What a ballroom. Oh, okay. So this is more political. Um, So it says from CNN again, from crypto billionaires to cabinet members, what to know about the donors paying for Trump's ballroom. I might honestly cut this a little short, and like just do like one section, see how it goes. Maybe get some like feedback from you guys. Sorry, I like my nose is forever itchy. That's what happens when you have 6 piercings and your nose tip alone. Okay. As demolition crews this week bulldozed the White House's East Wing. Oh, right, he was talking about that. To replace it with a massive ballroom, President Donald Trump has emphasized that the dramatic changes will come at zero cost to the American taxpayer. Bitch, who's paying for it then? I guess that's where we're going to find out, at least according to CNN. Now, obviously, we need to be very clear. Like, CNN has been very clear that they're not Trump supporters, so they might be biased against Trump. They might also be biased against the right wing in general. So anything they do, that's something that you need to research because you know that they're not supportive of those. Um, so instead, the donors picking up the tab include some of the country's biggest corporations, including many who have business before the federal government, along with many longtime supporters of the president, according to a CNN review of a donor list released by the Trump administration. Okay, so it's a little odd that these corporations are just donating money. They don't generally do that. So I'm going to make it known that I feel like we should be paying attention to what those corporations benefit from it. I'm not saying that Trump is like paying them off or something. I'm not saying anything. I just think that like from a business view, you're not going to do something without like some kind of like, oh, I get this in return, Um it's just not going to happen. So like they don't have any goodness in their hearts as a corporation, right? Um oh my god, can my shit fucking stop being itchy? Okay. So anyway, Trump has been recruiting donors for the construction project for months, showing off rendering and scale models to Oval Office visitors. I'm getting so upset with myself. Okay. Now estimated to cost 300 million, bitch. Okay, like don't get me wrong. A ballroom in the White House could be possibly used to garner more support with other countries. So I can understand the benefit. But is that benefit worth 300 million? I think the fuck not. Anyway, the work is being funded by private tax deductible donations routed through the nonprofit Trust for the National Mall. Um, every time I hear National Mall, I think like, oh, so there's like a huge mall in the middle of the nation with a bunch of fucking like there's a Starbucks on every corner. Like I know that's not what it means, but anyway. So, the president has said he will personally pay for some of the project, but the White House hasn't specified how much. So why the fuck is Trump? Well, no, it could possibly be an ego project. So I should clarify. I know I started on CNN. I'm not a liberal. I am not even left leaning at this point. It's just I'm not gonna vote for somebody just because they are a liberal or just because they are a Republican. If I had been given, like with the original ballots, if I had been given a choice, I would not have voted for Trump. He was my first option. But in this most recent election, there were issues with Kamala, specifically surrounding the fact that she was thrown in there without a vote, the fact that she didn't really have like a core set. So like basically what I'm saying is she talked to every party differently, and to the extent where like with her most recent quote unquote views, like what she was trying to promote and like how she has acted in the past, like they're just not lining up. So at the end of the day, Trump has always been pretty forthcoming with what he said. Um, he lies and exaggerates, sure, but that's every politician that lies. And I mean, I would much rather him exaggerate and give me at least a portion of what he's telling me than be like, oh, well, fuck you, actually. So overall, I look at results. I look at results and that's how I vote. So I did vote for Trump uh in this past election. I did not vote for him when it was Biden and Trump as the two main runners. I voted for a third party, not a third party, but it was the other Joe. I don't remember her name at this point, but I voted for her at that point in time. And then Trump proved himself, and that's why I decided to vote for him this time around. Um, because I look at facts. I don't base my voting decisions on like opinions, what I hear about how shitty of a person. Like you can be the shittiest person in the world and you could still be the best businessman. You could still be the best president. You could still be the best, and I'm not saying he's the best, but those two things aren't like together. Obviously it benefits you to not be a piece of shit in order to become a a president. It is my preference that you would act presidential in nature, and I don't believe Trump does that. However, I feel like his responses to things, the way he deals with things, the way he like roasts the fuck out of people, um I feel like that is a self-reflection of how the people of this country are feeling about the world in general. Like the world's ass right now, right? Um and I feel like it's extremely important to note that moving forward, that this is our president is a reflection of us, the whole. And while not everybody is supportive of, like, I'm not even supportive of everything he's done. Why the fuck has released the Epstein list? Why the fuck is he huffing and puffing about a fucking ballroom when there are millions of Americans that can barely pay their shit? So I'm definitely not like, oh, Trump. But Is that allowed on YouTube? I'm gonna get fucking banned before I even post. Okay. So anyway, it's not like I am like super gung ho about Trump, but I do think out of the two biggest options, um, I do think he was the better option, just because of morality in the sense of he has always at least attempted to do the things that he has said to do. Like the last time he ran, he said, "I'm going to do this, 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 and this." He tried to do every single thing that, at least that I'm aware of, that he said he was going to do, and that's why I decided to vote for him, because at least then I know what the fuck they're going to try to do. At least then, like, yeah, sure, it might not be like the possible. I'm sorry. I'll continue on this at a later time. But yeah, so the ballroom donors were feted at a White House dinner last week. Now the demolition's begun. Okay, so and then so I'm not going to read this entire thing because I don't want this to be like crazy long. But the Adelson Family Foundation, um this is the list, I'm assuming, of donations. I'm not going to talk about, I feel like Key Issues is going to have a lot of bias in there, so I'm not going to talk about any of that. The Altria Group, Big Tobacco, which honestly, Big Tobacco donating to him makes sense, because if you have looked at the most recent laws regarding like vapes and like lesser known companies that aren't included in Big Tobacco, it makes sense that they're donating, so I can understand their why. They're not just donating for fun. He's actively passing legislature that benefits them. um Maybe not him specifically, but active legislature right now is currently working on being passed in order to do that. Um, Presidential. So okay. Uh, so they've donated from Trump. I don't. That's a little odd. So anyway, they seem to be like friendly, at least. Altria Group obviously has a business perspective. Amazon told the world he was optimistic about a presidential push of his energy around reducing regulations. The president called out Amazon publicity earlier this year when he learned that an e-commerce retailer was considering displaying tariff costs for consumers, which the company said it would not do. So I do feel like they should display all costs. Um, like I feel like for each product, if you want a breakdown of like, oh, it cost this much to produce, it cost this much to get it over here, like I feel like that's good. But to specifically do only tariffs, like I think that's ridiculous. That's very biased, and that's essentially just telling people, hey, fuck you and your opinion. You don't get to like tariffs or hate them. We're deciding for you. And at that point, I don't think that that's ethical for a business who should have no say in how I believe of anything. I don't think that's ethical. And if you like, if say you're on the left, you don't agree with tariffs, um, and you want this to be public knowledge. I'm not saying that I don't want it to be public knowledge, but I'm also saying that it should be production costs as well. It should be every cost that goes into making that item and getting it to you. That like how you have transparency now, at least in my state, you have transparency now with your medical bills. I feel like that's important to cover everywhere, rather than just, oh, we're gonna actively post the tariffs because we don't like the tariffs, we don't support the tariffs. Well, I don't support Apple, and this is inaccurate most likely, but it's a dramatization. So I don't like how Apple makes an iPhone for $1 and then sells it for $1,000. How about that? I don't like that. Like, I feel like just in general, it would make us as consumers make better decisions in general. Like, oh, this company's obviously going for a cash grab, so I'm not gonna buy from them. So fuck them. This company over here is obviously like ethical, great human beings. They only upped it by like $2. That's just an example. But like, I feel like that would be a cool thing to do moving forward. Do I think they're gonna do it? No, but so they're in tech and e-commerce. Obviously, they've supported him in the past. I'm not sure exactly what exactly they're like, I don't directly see a benefit for Amazon to support Trump. So it might just possibly be morals. I'm not sure of the reason. Um, there's not like, sometimes you can like see one outright without doing any research. I haven't done as much research on Amazon as I should. So I'm not sure. Apple, that's surprising. I've always considered Apple to be more like left leaning. That's surprising that they're like, what can you benefit from? That's the way I see it. Like, if a CEO or a company in general, a corporation in general, is donating, like, I don't think they have goodwill at this point. That's my assumption. So there might be a little bias with that specifically. Because I am very anti corporation. I don't think they should be allowed to get as big as they are. I feel like at some point you should force them to break out. There should not be a $100 billion anything, you know? And I don't know if that's specifically talking about how Apple's worth this much, but I know most companies, like large Fortune 500 companies, are extremely wealthy for no fucking reason. And all of that shit just goes to the CEO, the shareholders, you know, all these people that are on the quote unquote top that, you know, it's just, I don't think it's great. Um, so anyway, moving on, Cook personally, so their CEO has personally given 1 million to Trump. So why the fuck do you have 1 million? Like, that's ridiculous. Why do you need 1 million? I don't even think I could spend that. No, I could if I really tried. But it would be a fuck ton of houses and generational wealth. Why the fuck do you need that as like, oh, I'm just going to yeet this at somebody? Like, that's ridiculous. Why do you need that much money? It's unethical at that point. I am for capitalism. I just think it's not being like routed right now in this country specifically. Uh, Cook personally gave 1 million to Trump's inaugural committee. The company secured a major win this summer when smartphones were exempted from heavy tariffs. That's why. That's probably why. Again, this is CNN. I don't think they're going to be anti Apple. I feel like they're probably anti Apple now, because they have supported Trump, but not anti Apple specifically just because they're anti Apple. But that would make sense. That would be a motivating factor. Obviously, they want to keep the person happy that is actively benefiting them. The late Betty Wold Johnson was a philanthropist. So her foundation has also donated, again, 17 million. Why do you have 17 million? Why do you have 4.7 million? Why do you have millions to give to this shit? Like, that's ridiculous. A ballroom shouldn't cost millions. That's just me, but you know. Okay, Booz Allen Hamilton, Stefan E. Brody. I'm not going to go through all of these because I'm pretty sure these are just like people. Was denied pardon. This motherfucker had a pardon? Okay. Again, this is all going to be most likely biased against Trump. So they're going to do everything they possibly can to make Trump look bad, which is why I don't watch CNN. I don't watch Fox News, because they're going to make everything look bad for like the opposite side. So I think that's important to keep in the back of your mind while reading stuff from this. So this might not all be accurate. It might also, like, you can't tell, like, based off of reading this, you can't tell how many times Stefan E. Brody has been done wrong by Trump. You have no idea. But I do think it's a little odd that he committed a crime and was given a pardon. Um, it is unclear if he has petitioned Trump. He probably has. If he's tried it before, he'll probably try it again now that there's a new president. I don't think that has anything to do with Trump, but I do think it is important to note for that one specifically that Biden denied it. So with a presidential pardon, this is another opinion of mine. With a presidential pardon, I don't think they should be allowed to give them. Except in the case of you have done America a great service. Like, I think it should be done under very specific circumstances and only then, not just for funsies, essentially. Because, like, the way I see it, regardless if it's Trump, Biden, or some other third party, the way I see it, if you can't follow the law, you shouldn't be excused by the law. Regardless if that's the president or not. I don't care. The way I see it, the president doesn't have that much power. Yes, obviously there's power in being the quote unquote leader. But at the end of the day, like, he's not the one who is the deciding factor if a law gets passed. He's not the one who is the deciding factor if something is done. Jesus Christ, look at that. That's the dust from my monitor. I hate this house. Okay. Anyway, so I think that's really important to realize. Okay. So I feel like the best way moving forward would just be to, like, have, cuz I need to write these down later. Um so I need to know, like, what I'm specifically using. That's a lot of effort. Sorry, I'm just trying to, like, figure out what exactly I want to do. Um, Motherfucker, could you stop? This is why. This is why we can't show the other side of the page. You're the reason. Um, okay, so I'm just gonna throw it over here. And then that one's done. Back in, okay, new tab. No. Uh, what the fuck? Okay, whatever. Anyway, so I gotta specifically go back now. That's ridiculous. Whatever. I don't care that much. I'll fucking write them down since they want to be ridiculous. Okay, so hope for cancer patients, ghosting, hunting, a dramatic escape. Check out the day's stories. Okay, so I'm gonna skim this one. If you want to read the whole thing in its entirety, please go to the website itself. It's CNN.com. Click on US and then Crime and Justice. So New Hope for Cancer Patients. Okay. So essentially, they're trying to say COVID-19 vaccinations may do more than prevent illness. They might help fighting tumors by boosting their immune system. So I think this is entirely propaganda. Smuggling drugs. So yeah, the New Hope for cancer treatment, like, first of all, a tumor and a cancer are entirely different things. A cancer is when a cell is essentially, it's a mutated cell that doesn't really die, or like dies after a really, really long time. It usually doesn't really die. And then it just grows and grows and grows. It can be a tumor, sure, but it can also be in your bloodstream. That's not a tumor. It can also be, you could have a tumor and it not be cancerous. So to fight tumors, I feel like that's extremely misleading. I also, as a biologist, know for a damn fact that the COVID-19 vaccination was not effective for COVID at all, not even a little. Just the amount of anti-truth that they've had regarding the COVID-19 vaccination, that they've even admitted at this point, that I was saying back in 2020 when they tried pushing it on everybody. It's not good. And I say that as a biologist, as someone who knows the scientific process, who knows the process of making a good vaccination. COVID-19 is akin to HIV in the sense where they are both what is called a retrovirus. They both mutate every single time they reproduce, or just about every single time they reproduce. So to say that you can make a vaccine for something that no longer exists because it's something else already, it's evolved to something else, that's unethical to say that, in my opinion. And it's definitely inaccurate. But to say that it boosts their immune system so they can fight tumors, cancer has little to do with immune system. Yes, your immune system will occasionally attack cancer, but it's very rare, because at the end of the day, it's your body. And while I'm not a doctor, I feel like this is extremely inaccurate. So I would just write that off. There's no new hope for cancer treatment, is my verdict. Survived a U.S. military boat smuggling drugs after a fisherman got caught in a Trump's war at sea. Okay, so unsure if this is accurate. Basically, it's talking about someone who was fishing and Trump took them out. I feel like, being that CNN in general, like the left side, has made it very clear that they don't want, I say the left side in this case of like big corporations that are supportive of the left, and like politicians and things, not like the baseline people that would actually vote left. Um, but they've made it very clear that they want drugs to come into the country. They've moved every way in order to get you to realize that. I feel like this is also, again, propaganda, that this specific one is being highlighted. I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but I feel like it's not the whole story. Like, how many times has, somebody innocent been harmed because somebody evil was around them? Bombs aren't really accurate. They have a range rather than just like a pinpoint. So I feel like that's just actively trying to make Trump look bad when he otherwise maybe shouldn't be. So I would take that with a grain of salt. Maybe put it in your back pocket. Make sure that you know like the whole facts. So we'll go over to Fox and see what they have to say about it, if anything at all. If I had to guess, if that did legitimately happen, Fox is not going to cover that. Google is dropping a key program for boosting women in tech. Another search that the unwinding certain project following political project. Bitch. Okay, so the fact that it's called Their History is Just Erased, and another key program for boosting women in tech. Bitch, I don't want to be boosted. I want to be supported to the extent where I can do whatever job I want to do. But at the end of the day, if I am not qualified for that job, I'm not qualified for that job. It has nothing to do with if I'm a woman. It has nothing to do if I'm white, if I'm black, if I'm Hispanic. Obviously, I'm not either of those things. But that has nothing to do with the fact that if I can do the job or if I cannot. This is the same reason, and I think Asmongold has talked about it a little bit, but this is the same reason, this kind of shit is the same reason why we've seen a drop in quality of products. Like specifically with video games, they have gotten worse and worse because they make DEI hires. And I'm not saying, like, you can be Hispanic, black, gay, whatever, and be great at your job. But they are not related. They're not related. So to say that, oh, well, a woman is the greatest hire, that might not necessarily be the case. And to force people into it is ridiculous, and it causes a significant drop in quality of product across the board. Okay, something goes bump. A skeptic spent the night at McRaven House. Annabelle and Hans Stephen from Phantom. The experience has left even doubters wondering, did you hear that? Okay, no comments. Permanent scars a decade after retiring, Olympic is still dealing with the underfueling, as she describes, unscientific bullying around food and lasting health of eating disorders. I mean, comment. Okay, so as somebody who's struggled with an eating disorder, I am going to comment on this a little bit. So essentially, most people who are extremely athletic have some type of body dysmorphia. That's just, at this point, I don't know if there's any studies on it, but I've seen it enough that I would consider it to be factual. Just about every person that goes to the gym and is super beefed, caked up, thinks that they're small as fuck. And will get offended if you say, oh, your muscles are really small. Or like if they're on if they're on anabolic steroids and like for the purpose of actively trying to look like they're on steroids, and you go, oh wow, you have such a natural build, they're going to be offended by that because they want a specific look. That's body dysmorphia. So as somebody who's dealt with body dysmorphia, who continues to deal with it, I can corroborate that people who are professionals or very invested in any kind of athleticism, they are at much higher risk for body dysmorphia and for food issues, for overworking out issues. That's the only comment. 4 days after historic jewels were stolen from the Louvre, new video making their getaway. That's funny as fuck. I want to watch. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry, is this them? Go away. That's funny as fuck. What is that? Is that like a little escalator or some shit? That's funny as fuck. Are you kidding me? You're telling me there's video evidence? No arrests have been, bitch. There's video evidence that they're like, no arrests. He just stole a few million. No arrests. Bitch, I fucking kid. Okay. Anyway. Heart of the Amazon basin, where the quarter of the tug of war. It's not surprising. It feels like there's wars everywhere at this point. Okay. East Wing demolition from satellite images. We've already talked about that. I feel like another thing is like extra, but we'll see it. Okay, so they what just took out this building? So it's not even actually. So when I heard East Wing, I thought like, oh, this is the East Wing. Like it's a part of the house. That's not even a part of the house. That's like what, a fucking shed or some shit that they took out. Am I looking at the right area? Yeah, because there's a pathway there. There's a pathway there. It looks like it's mirrored. That's weird that they did that. But like they're talking about a fucking building. Of course it's going to be millions at that point because they want to have all the quality shit. Like I don't give a fuck, bitch. Half of us are homeless. Anyway, I'm still mad about the ballroom, okay? I'm mad about the ballroom. I feel like it could be used elsewhere a lot better. Literally anywhere else. As excavators dig into the side of the White House this week, photos and videos made clear just how dramatically President Donald Trump plans to build a new ballroom will affect the historic structure. Yeah, no, I don't care to read that. It doesn't seem to be like truly important. But we'll move on to fuck. I did it again. Oops, I did it again. That's okay. We need to move on to the next topic anyway. So being that we started with US, I think I'm just going to end it by going to Fox News, getting the other side of the story, getting maybe some additional stories, and call it a day because I don't want this to go too long since I'm not really editing it. So I'm going to I'm gonna just look at the U.S. news for Fox News, the most common things. And this again, this is a test run. I'm hoping to do this every single day, but I'm not sure if that's gonna be possible. But I'll do my best to cover all of the stories. Again, it's just a test run until I figure out what the fuck I'm doing. So we'll look at this first. Illegal alien failed CDL test 10 times in 2 months before fatal Florida crash that killed 3. Is this the one where he fucking turned across 4 different lanes? I saw that shit. I was like, bitch, are you kidding me? You can't drive like at all. I don't want to fucking listen to this. Where is it? Yeah, it's the same bitch. Oh my god. Fucking can't. This motherfucker popped up on my For You page on Instagram and goes, I turn now. Good luck, everybody else. What the fuck, bitch? You're just gonna turn across 4 lanes and a meteor, or a median. Is that what that call? That's called when they have like a bunch of grass in the middle. I'm pretty sure it's a median. But anyway, like this motherfucker. Ain't no way he should have been driving anything at all. Like I understand they might do that in different countries, but at least like when you're in a new spot, like a new area, you like don't doesn't everybody do that where they like feel something out and be like, "Oh, well, they might have new rules, so like I got to be careful, hold back a little bit and observe the new rules," right? What the fuck is he doing? Okay. Anyway, carrying on. Yeah, it is. Okay. Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. Okay, so if I get this right, I might have misheard it, but so both of those are in California? I wouldn't go to California. I wouldn't be on the roads in California because that's extremely unsafe. If those are their practices where they go, "Oh, I'm going to lie about what languages you know." So, to take this out of a race and a immigrant context because I know those are both like hot topics on both sides. Let's say someone speaks only Spanish. Are you going to put them at the front of a Starbucks in the middle of Manhattan where most people are not going to be speaking Spanish, are not able to speak Spanish? No, because that's not logical, right? It's the same kind of deal in this case. Like, yes, he needs approval to speak English, but how are you going to read the road signs? How are you going to read a ticket? And I understand, like, there are other languages. I love other languages. I've been learning French for however many fucking years. I just started learning Spanish. It's not a language thing in that sense where, like, oh fuck these languages, no one should learn them. But I do think as a country we do at some point we need to put this is our language in there and everything's in that language. And I'm not saying, oh, you can't put something in Spanish, but it shouldn't be expected. Like some things just can't be in Spanish. Some things like it's just not possible to put everything in every possible language. You'd have a tiny ass font. You would have speed limit and then 25 different translations for one sign. Like that's going to be so small of a font that you're not going to be able to read it. It's not going to be effective at that point. So I do think that we need to not give people leniency in the sense of if you don't speak English, don't say you speak English. And I feel like I don't know what's exactly happening like legally in this case, but I feel like whoever gave him or them uh whoever was involved in each of these cases that they're talking about, because I'm not gonna watch the entire video because again I'm trying to make this like a fairly short video or at least kind of short. um that's ridiculous. They should be sued for all of the money, like on top of, like, I also think obviously like the driver is also responsible, maybe not most responsible, but the driver's also responsible for this. So I don't think they should be the only ones, but everyone who approved this should be sued through the roof. All of the damages that were caused, all of the pain and suffering from the deaths, all of the pain and suffering from just the trauma, because like every single time you get in a car crash is traumatic. That's why everybody's panicking at a car crash. That's why everybody's not thinking clearly at a car crash, because it gets your adrenaline up. Every time your adrenaline goes up, that's, well, not every time, but it's usually a traumatic event. It's usually that's what causes it, is something that is going to be traumatic for you, is going to cause you to act in a certain way that you might not have before the incident. So yeah, they should be sued the fuck out of. And don't get me wrong, I don't think this is it's kind of relevant. I'll say it's kind of relevant. I think they specifically added illegal alien because Fox News has been specifically anti illegal alien. But I feel like it is at least a little relevant because this person probably, if I had to guess, this person got a CDL for funsies um, in Washington State. Is it Washington or red state? So either this is because he got it specifically because he was an illegal alien and they want to support illegal aliens such as sanctuary states. I'm not positive what Washington is, if it's red or a sanctuary or blue or whatever. I feel like it's blue. I don't remember all of the swing states and all of like I don't remember. I know the big ones, but anyway, so I feel like there could be a political motivation behind that. But at the end of the day, if it's me, uh, like say I support illegal aliens. I want them to come into our country and to be able to live, be able to have jobs. But that's not necessarily what I'm saying. I feel like if you're illegal, you're illegal. Blah, blah, bitch. Do shit legally. um, but if I if I do support illegal aliens, and I think that giving them CDLs and giving them the ability to have CDLs. I mean, I'm not necessarily against giving them the ability to get a CDL, like making it possible. I don't think that that should come from the government. if you're an illegal alien, I do not think that should come from the government, but from like private agencies that want to maybe donate to something, or possibly like, make it possible for them to uh do like a loan without any down or something, where like it's a special loan specifically for this, where like, oh, you pay it back after, like, we'll give you a year of not paying it, then you pay it back after that. um I feel like that would be a more ethical way than literally killing people. That's not okay. Anyway, so southern border illegally and is accused of causing a crash. Florida killer knowledge exam. So yeah, no, he shouldn't have received a license at that point. And as for like my specific thoughts on like who should be allowed licenses, I feel like people who are allowed to drive cars is too much. I feel like most people who drive cars are not actually capable of driving cars. And what I mean by that is, I've done Uber, Lyft, whatever for years. And I can't tell you how many times I've come across, it's literally every other car that I come across, that they can't drive. They don't have the instincts to be able to safely drive. They don't have the instincts to be able to safely maneuver if like they get into a crash, or they start, like, let's say it's icy out and they skid out of control. They don't know how to control that in the slightest. And so I do feel like there should be a lot more strictness when it comes to getting any type of license, driver's license, motorcycle license, regardless. I feel like the test should be more strenuous, and the amount of hours that you need to drive should be a lot more than it is currently, because there are just too many bad drivers. There are too many people that think they know how to drive that don't actually know how to drive. And I feel like a lot of the laws aren't even mentioned in the tests. Um, so that's my thought on that. Most people should not be able to drive. Um, that's a little. He might have been like goofing on him. He might have been like fucking with him. That's funny. For those who are just listening, he communicated. It says he communicated clearly at first, but after signing paperwork and preparing to leave, the officers struggled to understand him. That might have possibly been like legitimate racism. Like maybe the officer is legitimately racist. I'm not saying that that is the only option in this case, but I feel like that is that's one conclusion that could be a possibility. It could also be possible that um, maybe he had just taken drugs, that then inebriated him. Um, he was under the influence towards the end of the conversation. It could also be that quite literally, he's fucking with them. It could just be that. Um, and it could also just be biased because this is Fox News and they're going to be specifically anti-illegal alien. Um, so it's just dependent on how you want to see it. There's no facts to determine. Like, I feel like that's just extra as fuck and is to lead you to a conclusion, like a specific conclusion. Um, but anyway, I'm going to stop it there. I know I kind of was very CNN and not very Fox News, but I do need to edit this and I don't really have much time. So thank you for coming to my lovely wannabe stream. I did, like, I was gonna just talk about this. I was just gonna talk about this later on an actual stream. But I feel like this is a better format in order to like have people actually watch. And I can't actually stream right now. My internet my internet's really bad. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Okay, bye. But thank you for watching it through its entirety. It's much appreciated. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, turn notification bells on, because I plan on doing this as much as possible in order to cover the most amount of content that I can. So yeah, and if you would like, I also have a Discord channel that I can put in here as well.